is one of the rare CEOs that's also the co-founder. So very often does a co-founder start a tech company and then they're no longer the CEO after 5-10 years, right? They don't last for the CEO for 30 plus years or whatever. I think they started this company in the 90s. And it started with just a couple of buddies co-founding, buddies. They had like 40 grand to their name, and they just saw an opportunity and something that would be massively successful, especially in the gaming space, like in the gaming world.
Welcome to the Success Flow Podcast, where our mission is simple: to be better each day and relay our findings with other relentless humans defining success for themselves. If that sounds like you, let's begin. All right, back at it on the Success Flow Podcast. And today we're talking innovation. We're talking about really how business in general is innovation. What you're trying to develop and change personally is innovation. And we both went to a similar entertainment facility over the last week. And I thought we'd kick it off because I think it's one of the best examples of entertainment and sports or innovation in entertainment and sports. And that's the Savannah Bananas. You went, right?
I did. Yeah. We took the kids last weekend, and it was actually the whole half of Jack's baseball team. It's the second year we've gone. We went last year and it's better this year. Like I just think they just continue to get better and better. But dude, it's so fun. The kids love it.
See, I didn't even know they were touring. I thought you had to go to Savannah to see them. I didn't realize that it's like the Harlem Globetrotters for baseball. I mean, I knew that was the concept. I nerded out on them from afar, but I thought you had to travel to Savannah. So I obviously didn't look into it too in depth.
Yeah. I think you used to. Like, I think they started in Savannah, Georgia, and like, the backstory of slow go, like they didn't sell any tickets or anything. And so, but what they did is they went viral. Yeah. There was an ESPN Plus documentary. There was TikToks all over the place. I'd never heard of them either until Kim was like, you ever heard of the Savannah Bananas? We're going to take the kids. This was last year. And I'm like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. But it was an unreal experience. It was awesome.
I couldn't agree more. Huge baseball fan. If you're watching a video, had to have the hat. Willie had to have the stuffed animal squeaky toy.
That is ridiculous. Does he have a six pack?
He does have a six pack. So check out the YouTube version or Spotify version. Anyway, we had a blast. Paula is not a big sports fan. She thought it was hilarious. The pitcher on stilts, and I was thinking the whole time, like, this guy deserves every penny that he earns. I think they're making around $200,000 a game. And he's done that by making it a fan first event. And the founder is Jesse Cole. And he still kicks off every game. He's the master of ceremonies with the yellow gold blazer. And they play, not baseball, actually. It's banana ball.
It is banana ball. And
I think they always play the party animals?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so they always play the party animals. I think those are only two teams. But what I'm hearing is that they will be developing a league now. So they started in like 2015, really 16, let's say. I think it was so Jesse Cole and his wife, Emily, she's heavily involved. They picked up this old team. I can't even remember what the name of this team was, but it was like a college summer league team or something that left. They were there for a minor league team or something. They were there in Savannah for 90 years. And the Sand Gnats, I think it was Savannah Sand Gnats. That's the name of it. Anyway, they left, and so they came in this whole rundown stadium, and they just thought there was this team that was playing there, and they weren't getting anyone there to enjoy it. So these guys, Jesse and Emily, have a marketing and entertainment background, so they saw an opportunity, and they're like, "Hey, I think we can make something really fun here." And you're right, Fans First is actually, I think, the name of the LLC that owns Fans First Entertainment or something. But that's the whole idea, is like, we're bringing baseball to the fans, but we're making sure the fans are the focus, not necessarily the baseball. And so they have a lot of dance moves. They've got a lot of entertainment. They got a lot of funky rules with baseball. It's not your normal baseball type style. Yes, they play baseball, but it's like Harlem Globetrotter, like you said.
Absolutely. They're really grown by originality, right? Like, they're not doing the typical sponsorship play, which, because they're not, they've actually wound up selling a ton of merchandise. I'm an example of it. Like, There's no, MLB brand affiliate or anything like that. So they've really skyrocketed there, and they're really putting the fans first. I think that they can have a large control on the vending and the pricing for that, which makes for a fan first experience and just awesome for the kids, right? I've never seen the Harlem Globetrotters. Did you see them back in the day?
Oh yeah, we used to go.
Yeah.
This was back when it was Suns Arena. It was like America West Arena when I was a kid, and they came a couple of times. It was cool. It was really fun to watch.
They get the fans out on the field. They had literally senior citizens and toddlers both on the field dancing, complaining to the umps. And they're always changing it up. You're not seeing the same show every time you go. And these are athletes. Like, they are legit ball players. Like, they're ripping heat.
So I was sitting next to Jack's baseball coach, who's the head. Mm-hmm. He's the head coach of varsity Horizon High School here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I was asking him, I was like, Bo, how fast are these guys throwing? And he goes, dude, they're mid to upper 80s, easy. I mean, they're like legit minor league guys that are doing this for fun, that still have eligibility and dreams and aspirations to get into the league. But this is just a really cool tour thing that they do. And it's so like, banana ball, it's not even about the score. You just have to win the inning, right? So like some of the funky rules, like if you score 7 in that inning and the other team scores 0, it doesn't matter. You just win, you get 1 point, right? And so it's like a best of the innings. And they've got these weird rules where you hit a foul ball, and if a fan catches it, you're out. If a fan catches the ball, then the batter's out. There's no strikes, there's no walks. Fan. Yeah, totally. And did you see Stilts? Was Stilts out there?
I was blown away by the guy that got a hit off him. Can you imagine? Yeah. I can't imagine trying to hit a ball coming in from that angle.
No joke. Like, you had to chuck it up. Like, this guy is standing on 6 foot stilts, so he's like 15 feet, or I guess that'd be tall.
And he wasn't like floating it or throwing it soft. That part blew my mind. And then the guy jumping on the skateboard going down to first base. I just think that this is where the world is going, and you're seeing it online as well. I mean, that's a large operation, right? That probably just started by a couple games with experiments, but yeah. This is how people are starting to think. How can we put a different frame on America's favorite pastime? I know that gets people heated up, but that's the name that baseball's gotten. But he's like, how can we do this? And he's not completely redoing the playbook, right? It has a very Harlem Globetrotters feel. But it makes me keep going back to, how are people going to innovate their favorite things and, in your words, see opportunity everywhere, not just a low scale dump of a college seasonal facility.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the innovation, but just like I think it's just, at the end of the day, the guy just likes to have fun, right? Like the fans first thing, like he just wants to take something that's art that people already love and put his own spin on it. Just like anything we talk about, you find something that works and you take 80% of that and put 20% of your own spin on it. Now, he might have taken the other way, 20% of what works in baseball and put his own 80% spin on it. But I just think it's a really cool idea. And, maybe we'll start seeing it in, in other sports, I don't know. But obviously you had it in basketball and you have it in baseball now. And I'm excited to see the growth. And because it was like, I think the other thing that's cool about it is it was kind of humble beginning. Like, they had to sell their house to fund this thing before it was even a thing. Like, they just didn't want to let these guys down, and they wanted to build something great, and they sold their house and funded it because they, had overdrawn their account to keep going. And this is like 2016 timeframe. They changed the name to the Savannah Bananas because of the history there in Georgia and the banana trade. And it went viral pretty quickly, and they sold out opening day and have sold out every single game since. Every single one.
Yeah, it's insane. And this is the podcast where we talk about defining success for yourself. How many people are going to come and tell you, what is your definition of success? Well, I want to throw a bunch of really good athletes out and make them dance in the middle of a baseball field, take them on the road, put a guy on stilts, and I'm going to make $200 for every event that we put on. Just the level of being able to see that, to innovate, visualize something that the world hasn't seen. I thought it was perfect for this podcast.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great topic since we both just went, and I don't know how early you got there, but my wife Kim, she likes to get to places super super early. Like she's the type of person to get to the airport 3 hours early for a flight to Las Vegas, and I'm like, I'd rather just show up to the airport and walk on the plane. But you got to get there early for Savannah Banana. They do all this entertainment pregame too, like not even pregame in the stadium. It's like when you're waiting in the parking lot for them to open the gates, they had full live band. They had they have all the guys coming down on the parade, and they sign autographs. They're like little celebrities. I mean, or the kids are all excited because they're celebrities and they're signing.
Yeah,
autographs,
I almost
signing
bumped
balls.
into the Jesse Cole guy, and I didn't know who he was until he came out on stage and opened it up. I didn't know about the gold blazer thing, and I'm like,
It's a full
almost
suit.
like hit that guy.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, he's in a full yellow suit. There was so the pre stuff, they had these two guys come out, and it's like, they probably have their act together, and they, it's a show, right? So these two guys come out, and they were like pretending to be sportscasters or whatever, and they're like breaking down the rules of Banana Ball while everyone was standing there waiting to get in the gates. And they had they brought other people on stage, had dance offs and whatever, and they just super entertaining before anything even started. This one guy, I was getting a crack out of this guy. I don't know who he is. I'll have to find him somewhere. But dude, I swear we need to figure out how to put him on SportsCenter because he was so good. Just like explaining how and here we have on third baseline, we've got a triple play and he just catches the ball. And like the way he talks, it just goes so well with like old school sportscasting. And like, I don't know, we were dying laughing. It was just from our experience. So anyway, they've got a ton of characters. They got the commentators. They've got the umps. Even the umps, when they call a strike or an out, they're flipping back and forth, doing somersaults. They have the baby races and the grandma races, and they got guys with their shirts off. Like it's insane. It's so funny. It's like a circus.
So if the Savannah Bananas are coming to you, listeners, you probably didn't see this one coming, but check it out or check out their social media to get an idea what we're talking about. While we're talking about innovation, the other thing that has been top of mind, it's been cool, it's been popping up everywhere. You know how I'd like to nerd out on even though it gets a bad rap, biohacking. I love continuing to dabble and experiment and tinker with that. And Gary Brecka, you and I were talking with Dan Clark and his wife. I talked with his wife more about it, Kelly, that 10X Health and how Gary Brecka is changing lives left and right. A lot of success stories with Dana White, Steve Harvey. And it was too easy of a sell. It's a one-time gene test. It's an investment, but you only take it once. And it turns out that I'm deficient. Both of my parents, it shows you which parents passed on which genetic mutations that you don't absorb certain things right. So I'm going to botch the science. So I am deficient in MTFHR, which is the mother gene, formerly called the mother effer gene. And they just say that because of the letters, but it is a mother effer because it keeps you, it's like the number one building block for being able to transition folic acid. So I'm going to stop before I start looking even less of a scientist than I am. Paul already pointed that out when I was going through my results like a nerd. And anyway, talk about innovation. This is something that is being ready to the public that used to only be available to the super wealthy to get this genetics, and you can supplement specifically to the deficiency that you have. So in regards to innovation, 10X Health is way up there on my radar, and I ordered the supplements, have been on them for a week. I'm feeling good anyway, but it's going to be cool to see how that transitions and what else they're going to do.
Yeah, I saw Gary Brecka speak at a conference a little over a year ago, and even a couple of the Cardone guys were there too. He's tied to the Grant Cardone, the whole 10X model.
Invested.
But yeah, so it's pretty incredible stuff for sure. And for the listeners who may not, biohacking, you would have said that to me a couple of years ago. I wouldn't have known what that really is, but it's basically just making it's incremental changes to your body, diet, lifestyle to improve your overall health and well-being. And so this test that Phil's talking about is something that gives you insight into what's going on in your body, like you said, deficiencies or whatever. Now you make those changes, dude, and it's like longevity comes into play, and just overall health and what you're trying to do, like just peak performance. comes into play, like what you need, like why am I feeling this way or whatever. It's like a deficient in this one random little thing, like you would never know. I think they go as far as do they go as far as like potential diseases and things that run down the family tree and like what you could potentially get, be prone to later in life?
Yeah. So Gary actually started in the insurance space where he was predicting life mortality. So he could go into a life insurance scenario, take the biomarkers and blood work from people when you go to get your life insurance done, and actually predict almost to the day that you would have to live to give those life insurance policies. And back to defining success for yourself, he said, I don't want to tell people when they're going to die. I want to help people live longer. And so he flipped it on its head, took all the science that he knew, and really is changing the world. So to your point about the diseases, he goes through, you can do a more extensive blood test, which I haven't done yet, in which they will predict that, just like your GP. But yeah, it's just full package. People that are really trying to get ahead of their life, and with the length that we are able to live, we want to be able to do it the best that we can for the whole ride. So
yeah, I think longevity is a big topic these days. You hear about Peter Diamandis talking about it on podcasts he's on. He's our massive transformative purpose guy, and there's so much science. And I think it was on the Ed Milet show. Actually, I was listening to that one, and there's just so much science and medical, just things that are happening, just miraculous things that are being worked on that we don't know about, that are actually happening and available and will become available for people to add 10, 15, 10, 20, 25 years to your life. Like it's not robots. You're not going to become a robot or anything like that. It's just the things that you pay attention to. And they're talking like the longevity of life. If you listen and do these things, you're going to be well past a century years old, but you're not going to feel like you're a century years old. I think the average age is like 76 for males and 78 or 79 for females. And there's talk of, average, that the average will slowly go up, but there's talk of people living past 100 years old, no problem. And it's pretty wild to think about.
It's super wild, and you're seeing it all across. I mean, with artificial intelligence and the way technology is going, these are the things that we can get excited about, with all the fear and lack of control that AI could bring. These are the exciting things, like talking about innovation and medical combined. Amazon's working on a healthcare disruption right now. They made a $3.9 billion acquisition of One Medical, and they're a primary care group, and they're looking to get digital screenings, your WebMD type of consultations face-to-face, all in one package. It's going to make healthcare much more affordable for the people that really need it. And so you see them moving into that market, things are going to change, and a lot of money and a lot of health is going to change hands. And that's, it's exciting.
Do you know who else is a big player in that? Amazon's getting involved, and you got, 23andMe, all that kind of stuff started 10 years ago. Do you know anyone else who's getting big into this space?
Who's that?
No, I'm asking. I'm wondering if you know any other companies that are, really diving into this and making big moves and big investments.
Yeah. So another one, when you're talking about your overall gut biome, is a company called Viome, and they take it. That's not from the genetic level. You take us. Actually, it's not a fun process, but you take a saliva swab, which is the easiest part. That's all you need for the 10X test. But for this one, you have to get like a certain amount of blood by pricking your finger into a vial. It's not like a blood draw, which is probably an easier way to go, but they can get enough from that, as well as you have to get a stool sample at home and get that into a container and get that out. But what they're doing is looking for how the state of your gut biome is right now. And then they give you recommendations on what foods you should avoid, what are your superfoods, and it's all personalized to you. And Paula and I both did that one.
Okay.
And a huge player there. And I'm sure I just got off a call for my day job with a company that's in this epigenetic space and trying to build a tool that's going to be able to be used by all these companies. So really trying to make a tool that can be white labeled to improve this epigenetics and gene diagnostic process. So fun things to come, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny we're getting on this topic. I actually didn't even know that this is the direction we we're going to go. But as you were talking, I've got a buddy who just had rotator cuff surgery. And I'm not a doctor by any means, so this is all just kind of over my head. But he was explaining this PRP therapy. You heard of that? PRP, the platelet-rich plasma. So basically
you re-inject it into the joint?
Yeah, and re-inject it into the joint. Instead of having surgery, they just took PRP, platelet-rich plasma, from his blood, re-injected it into the injury, and then had some therapy and some some recovery or whatever. But then he was fine, and it just allowed his body to heal with its own cells. It was insane hearing that story, and it's like sounds like futuristic stuff, but that happens all the time. And I didn't realize that. He's just the first person that I met that went through that PRP therapy. But that's like a whole. Instead of going under the knife and having surgery, this is an option for certain areas of your body when you have these injuries.
Yeah, I'm not sure how different that is or is the same as stem cell replacement, but that's what a lot of the wealthy are doing now. They're flying to other countries to get stem cells injected into specific joints. And again, that's all stuff it's going to be available to the common individual, which is going to even expand our lifespans and change a lot of things. So what a time to be alive. Again, we are not giving medical advice on this podcast.
No, not at all.
I'm a banana hat and throwing stuffed animals around my office. But dig into this stuff because there's just so much available at your fingertips. Just the knowledge alone. You have to do your research and cross-reference. Don't just be ordering supplements from any random person. Do your due diligence. Talk to your primary care, maybe, or do your own research. But it's all great stuff to take a look at if you're trying to define success for yourself and live the healthiest life possible.
Yeah. So changing subject here, did you see, so I watched the stock market, and talk about some innovation. NVIDIA, the company, the big tech company that does the microchip manufacturing, like one of the
Yep.
global leading, right? Anyway, they went parabolic today. Today is February 22nd. So I'm sure, by the time you listen to this podcast, it'll be a week or so later. Anyway, they went up 15% and they're already at a stock price of 700 plus. So they're, pushing 800. Because of their earnings, they surpassed the expectations by like 2.1 billion from last quarter. Like it's just insane. Right. And so, so I just looked up the CEO to see who it was. And what's interesting about this guy, his name is Jensen Huang. He's is one of the rare CEOs that's also the co-founder. So very often does a co-founder start a tech company and then they're no longer the CEO after 5-10 years, right? They don't last for the CEO for 30 plus years or whatever. I think they started this company in the 90s. And he started with just a couple of buddies, co-founding, buddies. They had like 40 grand to their name, and they just saw an opportunity and something that would be massively successful, especially in the gaming space, like in the gaming world, processing these chips. Anyway, long story short, let me see if I can find this article again real quick.
If you're thinking, I think you and I might have rapped on social about this. He's the one that said nobody in their right mind would start a company, and if he went back and knew how hard it was going to be, he would have never begun. And he's one of the wealthiest guys in the.
He's now, because of today, he's now the 24th richest person in the world.
And to this day, he says he wouldn't do it again if he had to go back because he would know too much.
Yeah. And what I love about this guy is he's completely authentic in himself. He's not like trying to be a CEO because he thinks that's what a CEO is supposed to be. So there's this other article that I saw today. And he said, apparently, and according to this article, in 2010, he told New York Times he defines good leaders based on authenticity. They don't dress like a CEO because they think that's what a CEO dresses like. They don't talk like CEOs because that's the way they think CEOs talk. They don't conduct their meetings and expect people to treat them like CEOs because that's the way they think CEOs are supposed to be treated. They are just who they are. And this dude wears a leather jacket and he has a tattoo from when Nvidia hit $100 on their stock market. And, he's just like a normal dude, and he doesn't even have an office. So he doesn't have like the big corner office in the building. He walks around and just hangs out in the conference rooms or the common areas and just does his calls and his meetings wherever he is at the time, wherever his feet are. And I don't know, I just love it. And he's the 24th richest man in the world, and he has no, there's no ego to it. He's just, I am who I am. I wear leather jackets. We're chill. And, he's one of the smartest and richest people in the world. It's crazy.
I remember it was My First Million where they described him that set us down the chase on who he was. Cause they were like, there aren't many people that are like rock stars in the tech, in the, the big tech play. And he's like as close as it gets to being a rock star, the way he operates and everything like that. So it's a perfect example.
Yeah. I think he's super innovative as a CEO. And I think it's, I follow the stock market daily, at least every time the market's open, and just seeing that on the news, it's like, holy, wish I had a little more than that in NVIDIA right now. But that's a pretty cool story.
Well, we did hardly any prep for this one, so it's been bananas.
It has been. What's one thing I will say to wrap up here, going back and closing on our intro of the bananas. Those guys started the Bananas Foster Foundation, which I think is a pretty cool thing, is like being innovative and starting a business and starting a creative, whatever, and something that goes viral, and then building a foundation and philanthropic efforts, I think is really neat. And so him and his wife are really passionate about it. It's something they do every game, I'm sure. At least they've done it the last 2 years here in Phoenix. They stop the game midway through and they bring a family out, and they're just dedicated to fostering children. They're foster parents themselves, I believe, and they just kind of help people through that process. And I just think it's cool. I think, there's no ego to this stuff. It's fans first entertainment. It's be who you are, being authentic. And people will just want to be around you and giving back to the community at a high level.
I love it. I think that's the pod. Keep innovating, everybody. Check out the Savannah Bananas and go bananas in the subscribe or comments, or letting us know what you want to hear about. We'll be right here.
Or you can be a party animal. Up to you.
Your call.